Wonderful. Well, good morning. Before I begin, Secretary, I would like to have you meet, and if the folks could stand up, our wonderful site staff that got this place ready. So stand up, stand up. Over there. So the quality of the preparation they did for this is just a reflection of the quality of what they do every day, and it's to the benefit of the residents. So thank you for being here. So good morning. I'm Mark Angelini, president of Mercy Housing Lakefront. I'd like to welcome everybody here to our Englewood Apartments. At Mercy Housing, we really consider ourselves stewards, primarily of a mission that was started over 40 years ago by a group of, as they all are, excited, forward-thinking, and butt-kicking nuns.
All right.
Nuns on the Bus has been here, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
I love it.
And their vision was a city where every community was healthy, every community provided people, irrespective of their income, irrespective of the traumas life it might have inflicted on them, the opportunity to live in safe, decent, affordable housing, where they could not only live in dignity, but to thrive. And that is where we also focus on the services. Now, we all know that a community can't be healthy if it's also not part of a world or an earth that's healthy. And so we're very excited, and thank you for being here to announce the Earthshot. And because, again, we can't accomplish our mission unless we have a world that's environmentally sustained and healthy to live in. And I think it's really laudable that you're focusing on the nitty-gritty of how capital expenditures can actually, in properties like ours, get us to that point. But before we get to that, I have the honor of introducing the most important person in the room today, which is Michelle Butler, our lovely resident here, who will have a few words to say and then introduce Secretary Granholm.
All right, Michelle.
Fine view. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle D. Butler, and I'm a resident here at Mercy Housing. I came to Mercy Housing in 2018. I was on their beloved waiting list, and Mercy Housing has been a blessing to me. I have been helping people all of my life. My mother, may she rest in peace, trained me to be an unofficial evangelist, and what I mean by that is always serving others. And that's what Mercy Housing has done for me. Mercy Housing has provided me a place to not only just live, but to I actually have a baby picture when someone tried to take a picture of me and I was looking dead in the camera. But my mother has always tried to tell me to help other people, and that's always that I have done. When I first came to Mercy Housing, I had just gotten out of a shelter, and I was completely traumatized. And my biggest fear was, I'm going to be homeless again. And this wonderful woman who does not want to be seen, Miss Simpson, she always told me, you're not going to be homeless again, I can guarantee you. And they provided me all the services that I needed. I'm a person who does not like to cook. And I was told we were getting new appliances. We got a new refrigerator. We received a new energy-efficient stove. And I was like, how dare they give me a new refrigerator? Because I just went out and bought all these groceries from Walmart, a shameless plug. And then wonderful Trey came and installed my new refrigerator, and I was able to get all that food in that refrigerator portion and limited space in the top, because it is an energy efficient refrigerator. It reduces the energy, and now the stove. Now, for those of you who remember back in the day, there was this cartoon called King of the Hill for propane and propane accessories. If you've ever cooked on gas, you know there's a difference of cooking on gas as opposed to electric. the electricity, you just have to adjust the timing, but there's no difference whatsoever. I love my new refrigerator. I love my stove. I cook all the time now, and this is strange for me because I don't like to cook, and when I do cook, I cook up in batches. But that being said, we need to have clean energy because we have damaged the earth. And when I was growing up, you're like, my God, she's doing a lot of references. When I was growing up, there was a commercial with a Native American who would always cry because we had damaged the earth. Let's stop damaging the earth and embrace clean energy. And that being said, I'd like to introduce the Secretary of Energy.
All right. Awesome. So great. I want to take you with me on the road. She's so good. Not a single note. She had it all down. Strong closing. All right. Mark and team, thank you so much for allowing us to come here where you are an anchor for the community, an anchor and an example of affordability in housing. And so I just let me start with this because whether folks out there in Englewood or across Chicago or across America living in poorer communities, there is no doubt people need access to affordable living, affordable housing. And a component of that is, do you have energy bills that are through the roof? And that, in many places, we know that folks without incomes pay disproportionately for energy bills, but also poorer communities have disproportionately houses that are older, that leak, that are inefficient. And so President Biden, I'm here on behalf of President Biden, and he is obsessed with lowering bills for people. He wants to make sure, particularly in communities that are disadvantaged, that the funding from the federal government prioritizes those communities. He has something called Justice40, which means that 40% of all of the bills that have been passed that provide grants to states, et cetera, go to communities that need it most. And so we've heard all of us about structural inequality, and he's trying to build a structure that would provide equity in this country. And so one of those components, of course, is in my column, which is the Department of Energy. So I have three announcements, basically. The first one is not so much an announcement, but a recognition that as part of the president's commitment to underserved communities, some of the bills that were passed in the past couple of years provided a huge increase to, for example, weatherization across the country. In fact, Illinois got about 10 times as much weatherization dollars this past year than they have in the past because of this commitment that the president has to making sure that people, and in Chicago, the eligibility is if you're in a family of four and your income is $60,000 or less, you be eligible to have your home weatherized. And what does that mean? Of course, it means insulation. It means making sure that you've got efficient lighting. It means that, in many cases, making sure you've got efficient appliances as well, making sure that your windows aren't leaking, your doors aren't leaking, you're not leaking through the attic. You do not want, and many low-income people are doing this, they're heating the neighborhood in the winter, or they're cooling it in the summer because all of the air that they want to make their home comfortable is leaking out. And what does that do? It causes their energy bills to go through the roof. And so it is critical that people know that the eligibility for weatherization that's here has increased in terms of the amount of money. So CETA, who is here in the room, does weatherization for people. And for anybody listening who wants to find out whether they can access weatherization, they can go to cetaorg.net or call 1-800-571-CETA. We want people to know that the service is there and that access is there and that we have significantly increased funding for thousands more homeowners. Second, today we are announcing an expansion, the first rollout, again, from these laws that the President has signed, of the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grants. Now, this funding was made available during the Obama administration. It was cut off during the next administration, and then it's now been reinstated. And so for Chicago and for Illinois, that is going to mean a significant amount of money, but here's the catch is that you have to apply for it. Every state is eligible for some formula amount, but they have to apply. It's my understanding that both Cook County and the state of Illinois have already applied. I don't know if folks are here from those offices have applied. I'm not announcing your award today because you may just have applied, but it's rolling and the cutoff is in April for states and cities and counties that are still eager to apply. But I am saying that today we are distributing the first round of those energy efficiency and conservation block grants. This program overall is $440 million. And so if you submit a plan that provides energy efficiency, particularly to disadvantaged homes and communities and homeowners, you are in the sweet spot of getting approved. So this first round is $30 million of that $440 million. And that is going today to 17 states or cities. This $30 million, just to give you a couple of highlights of what has been funded. The city of Minneapolis is deploying the funding to install home energy efficient upgrades in disadvantaged communities, like better insulation and heat pumps. In Alabama, the Moa Band of Choctaw Indians partnered with the city of Citronelle, and they're going to use their award to help members install heat pumps and LED lighting upgrades. And in Ohio, local governments are going to retrofit street lights in low-income areas because of the disproportionate amount of lights that are out in low-income areas, literally bringing light to people. So we anticipate Chicago is going to join this list, and excited to see what your plans will provide. So second round, that first round of funding announced. We're going to be announcing these on a rolling basis every month. So look ahead in Chicago and in Illinois for yours. Then the next announcement is really about the future. So we have launched a series of what we call Earthshots at the Department of Energy. And these Earthshots are big reach goals on technologies that we know are going to be critical for the nation, but we want to lower the cost of them. You know how early technologies are often very expensive, right? Remember how much the iPhone was back in 2007? I mean, that's still expensive. Never mind. But nonetheless, early technologies are expensive, and over time, as they're distributed, taken to scale, advances happen, they come down. So, and Dr. Jerry Richmond, who's here, is leading the Earthshot. Her team leads the Earthshot efforts at the Department of Energy. So this Earthshot that we are announcing today is called our Affordable Home Energy Shot. And that is about bringing down the price of all of these retrofits and installations to reduce the overall cost of energy on a month-to-month basis. But we want people to be able to install them too, right? And so the goal is to reduce the cost of those technologies and those products by 50% so that people can install them. Now, in general, when you weatherize a home, what's your overall savings of the folks whose homes you weatherize over at CETA? It's about...
Last time the state did a survey, or that analysis is about 27%.
Okay, that's what we say, about 25 to 30% is generally, that's if you just do plain old weatherization. If you do the next generation of weatherization, which we are going to reduce the cost for in this Earthshot, that's an additional 20% savings. So almost 50% savings that you can get from your energy bills by deploying some of these technologies. Now, what am I talking about? So a lot of these homes are older homes, right? And it's hard to retrofit older homes, to go in, it's older wiring, older lighting. So one of the strategies is to look at the building envelope, the roof, the walls. How do you insulate those and insulate them in a way that doesn't necessarily disturb the homeowner and cause them to have to move out? So if you apply, there's a next generation panels and siding that are super insulated that you can attach to the outside and significantly reduce your bills. And that siding can also be smart and so be connected to appliances inside. So if you have a whole home system where the home is smart and knows, listen, this is time to turn down the thermostat, this is time, you can save, a huge amount of money. In fact, you could also, as a homeowner, in some places, and this is a conversation we want to have with Illinois, you could be part of what is known as a virtual power plant, where the entire system talks to the homeowner essentially and pays the homeowner for turning down their appliances and saves money that way. That's in the future, but this whole home retrofit is all about what are those kinds of technologies that will reduce that cost by 50%. Compact heat pumps, for example, that keep families comfortable no matter what the season is. Well, obviously being more efficient too, easier on our grid. Smart controls, as I'm mentioning, that help residents save money without even noticing that the smart controls are working. So our goal is to really reduce costs. This it's not the only plan that the president's been focused on. He's also got signed laws that give citizens 30% tax credits for installing solar panels. We want folks who are from disadvantaged communities to be able to access solar panels as well to generate their own energy, which again reduces costs for them. But not just solar, other types of technology as well. So 30% of those, there's going to be all these rebates that are rolling out starting in early next year, I think, in Illinois. And those rebates are going to be for appliances that are super energy efficient, insulation that's super energy efficient. So all of these ways that the president is trying to reduce the cost for everyday people of their energy bills. So we're very excited about that. This energy Earthshot, it's the 8th. I said this. It's the 8th. It's the 8th energy Earthshot we've done. It's our final. It's our pièce de résistance. It's our final energy Earthshot, where all of the rest have led to it. The other Earthshots include things like reducing the cost of, and this may not be relevant for everyday citizens, but it is relevant for their power, offshore wind turbines. For example, they're on floating platforms. How do you reduce the cost by 80%, which then gives people access to, abundant, cheap power? Enhanced geothermal. This has got geothermal in here, right? So we want to make sure that geothermal is affordable as well, and enhanced geothermal can do that for citizens. Geothermal, the heat beneath your feet. It's abundant energy that is 24/7. And yet it is a bit expensive, both on an individual building level as well as on a utility scale level. So all of these things we are working on. And I think part of this, to your point about, your service to the community, to me, it's all about the word all, the great 3-letter word, that no matter where you live, whether you live in Englewood or you live in a newly renovated home on a tree-lined street in Evanston, no matter what the size of your wallet, you should be able to have access to affordable and reliable power. And that's the president's vision as well. So with that, let me invite Dr. Jerry Richmond up, who heads the whole effort inside of the Department of Energy on innovation and technology and the future. And her portfolio is super exciting.
Well, thank you, Secretary. Thank you all for being here. I want to give a shout out to Argonne National Lab, for helping with all of this. You had, yeah. And maybe some of you don't know, but we haven't been planning it to be in this location for the last 2 months. It's been like last 2 days. So just want to say thank you all very much. And I am just so excited about this 8th Earthshot. I call it the 8th greatest, if I can do that, because it really will make a difference in people's lives. I come from a farm in Kansas, grew up, my dad shoveling coal into the furnace every night. So I know what it means to be in a tough situation where you have to decide whether you're going to heat the house or you're going to eat. So I think that's why I call this the greatest. And I think that, but you know, it's not just the only one. I shouldn't be talking about your favorite child, you know. Never you're supposed to do that. But it really is, it's adding to what the Secretary said with regards to the other Earthshots. And I have to keep a list of these, just like you sometimes have to remember your kids' names by writing them down. In hydrogen, long-duration energy storage, carbon capture, floating offshore wind, enhanced geothermal, industrial heat, and clean fuels and products. But think about this. We have these goals, a 10-year goal on these to bring down the cost, but that means we have to do a lot of technology. There's a lot that has to happen. For example, with geothermal, you don't just stick something down there and hope the heat comes up. You got to have materials that don't melt, right, when they go down there, right? So you've got to be able to have the turbines that are out there in the ocean that you can recycle with time rather than the fiberglass ones that are out there now that are just going to pile up because they only last a certain amount of time. How do we get them better? How do we get them cheaper? And in all of these areas, I could do carbon capture too. There's real technical challenges that are there. And that's why I love this job. I love serving for the Secretary. I love serving for this administration because they appreciate how important the technology and innovation is behind this. And with our 17 national laboratories and all the universities that we fund, they are the ones that are engine behind these technologies. But they are not the only engines. We need young people in here. We need old people in here. We need everybody that's interested in science technology to jump in here and help us with this, because they are the jobs of the future. The energy realm is the jobs of the future. And the rest of us, or the rest of you that are not scientists, just make sure you turn the lights off at the right time. Okay? Yeah, turn the heat off when you don't need it. Yeah, be really smart about it. And, you know, I have to say, we just went to see your apartment. No, I mean, not yours. But it was so cool to be able to see what they're doing with here at Mercy Housing on that. So thank you for letting us share that with us. So I'm just here to say, join with us, be part of the team, celebrate the Energy Earthshots with us, and get involved in any way that you can, because we know that housing is one of the most difficult ones that we need to decarbonize. And it is so important for us if we're going to save the planet, save the climate. So we know these houses tend to be older, inefficient buildings. And let me just finish by saying, when I toured a very old apartment building in the Tenderloin of San Francisco recently, where there's a nonprofit that's going through and putting in for the entire complex a heat pump for water, rather than everybody having their own single water heater. And it's amazing what can happen, but it's because of the technology and the commitment of people to make that work. So that's just one example, in addition to this, of what we all need to be on board to help with this. So thank you all very, very much. Yeah.
I think we all learned a lot, and I think that, Mercy Housing's tagline is "Live in Hope." So I think everything that we've heard today gives us a lot of reason to hope. And, all you got to do is look at Ms. Butler here and know about what the power of being able to live in hope can do. So we thank you all for being here, and, go forth and do good things, and remember to turn the lights off at the right time. Oh, thank you.